What's up, guys? Welcome back to Let's Talk Movies. I'm Brad.
And I'm not wearing pants.
And we've got a ton of different stories to talk about tonight. A new Exorcist Trilogy from Blumhouse, a crazy fan theory that connects Titanic with the Terminator, new horror projects, MCU and DCEU updates, and one huge looming question: where is the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer? We're breaking all of this stuff down, plus a ton more. This is Let's Talk Movie News.
Let's talk about it.
It's the weekend, my friends. We have made it through the first week of August, and it's time to kick back, drink a couple of good beers, talk some movie news. Miguel, how you doing, my friend?
It's not the weekend. Oh wait, it is Friday. I'm fucking stupid. Why did I think we were doing this on Thursday? Why did I think this was Thursday?
I don't know. We were gonna film on Thursday, but then we didn't. I don't know. It's wild. Do you realize it's been 2 weeks since we did the last movie news show?
Are you sure? Because
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. We're kind of ahead of the game right now. We have like a couple of videos ahead of you of what this is, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird. I don't know.
Shameless plug. This Monday on episode 33 of the main show, we are joined by our very first special guest, JayTee of #HeyJay on YouTube. We're going to be talking horror, we're going to be talking movies, filmmaking, life. We talk a whole bunch of different things. And honestly, I think that's one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. So,
yeah,
8 p.m. Video form on YouTube, audio form on Spotify, wherever else you listen to podcasts. That's going to be a really fun episode. Drops on Monday at 8 p.m. It's going to be a good time.
It is.
Really good.
You guys
time.
will love it. JT's fucking hilarious. I love him. He's in Atlanta.
Good
guy. He has a good resume for being an extra. So it was great talking to him. And hopefully we can talk to him soon again. And yeah, more power to him and what he's doing. And yeah, when you guys check it out on Monday, please check it out on Monday. It's great stuff.
Show. What are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking nothing. I'm literally eating Sour Patch Kids.
I am drinking, what is this? Mad Tree Happy Amber Ale. I went in here's the story. This is orange, like the can is orange. I saw on Mad Tree's Instagram that their pumpkin beer is coming back out, and I was like, oh, sweet. Like, I'm going to go get that. So I went in, and they didn't have it, so I was sad.
Were you the one that posted that?
Yes.
You posted that on our story. I was like, I saw that when I was chilling. I was like, damn, have I tried a pumpkin beer? Might as well.
Yeah.
So
I like trying all those different fall beers. So, and we're getting into that time, man. We're so close.
There's literally barley and wheat.
Close.
Let's not lose the fact. It's just beer. It's just barley and wheat.
But with pumpkin, though.
I know. It'll be interesting. I ain't gonna lie.
It's good, man. I can't wait till we start trying different stuff. But I don't think I've had this before, and I like it. It's pretty good.
That's good.
I dig it. Well, guys, we're going to dive into this thing like it's a buffet and it's Sunday after church and you're about to eat your weight in food. I love it when we have so many different stories to talk about on a show, because usually, we have our main things. We talk about Halloween a lot. We talk about the MCU a lot. We talk about Spider-Man and all that stuff. But this show, man, there's a lot of different stories to talk about tonight. A lot of crazy stuff. Like I said, it's been a while since we were here. So, I sent you a list. Where do you want to start? I mean, like, again, the buffet is ours. We just got to decide how to take it down. How to swallow her.
This guy. Dog. Jeez. Let's do something new with my favorite character, the Predator. What's going on with him?
Woo! Let's check out Predator real quick, my friend. Let's see. So we have there is a new
McDonald's.
We do have McDonald's. Absolutely. There is a new Predator project coming. As you know, Disney actually bought the rights to Predator. I don't. Do they have the rights to Alien? I'm not
No.
sure, but Disney owns the rights to Predator, which I'm a little like I don't know about that. Like that's like okay, but also like I don't know.
Bro,
I just don't
the
know. I
Predator
don't
is
know if
literally the most
Disney is.
yeah, Predator is literally the most glorious fucking sci-fi movie out there to date.
Yeah.
And the fact that Disney has it, I swear I wonder which movie's gonna come out first, Predator or Blade. And whichever comes out first, or if Predator comes out before Blade, this movie will definitely show what to expect with Blade. You know what I
For
mean?
sure. Yeah, absolutely. So this article, I saw this on comicbook.com. The next film in the Predator franchise is actually taking things way back in time, as it will actually show the Predator's first trip to Earth. In essence, this is a Predator origin story, and now we have even more details on the project as well as a full title, thanks to a new interview with Jungle Cruise producers John Davis and John Fox. In a new interview with Collider, Davis and Fox were asked about the mysterious Predator project, which they revealed is titled Skull. The film will be directed by Dan Trachtenberg. Not sure how to say his name. And while they weren't spilling all the secrets, they did have a few things to share. What do you think of the name? Skull.
Skull. I think I read somewhere that
Skull.
they're not going to be called Predators.
Skull. Skull.
I have no say over what he's doing. I think the whole skull thing, I think that's gonna be the actual name that they're gonna like give the Predators. I don't think they're gonna be called Predators in this movie.
Probably not. I mean, if it's their first trip to Earth, people have never come in contact with them before. That's gonna be cool because at least like in all of the Predator movies, there's been like talk of like we've seen them before. I guess not in the original. But at least like in Predator 2 and AVP and AVP Requiem, like Predators, like there's like they've kind of built up that like they've come to Earth before. But I guess it depends on how far back we go too. I mean, is this gonna be like medieval times? Is this gonna be like, you know, club first invention of the wheel times? Like where are we gonna be at in like human history that they're gonna come
I think
to
it was
Earth?
gonna be like I think it's gonna be, if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna be like before the wheel. So like how can I put this? Aztec-y? You know what I mean? Like that era.
Yeah, but if you do that though, I mean, like, what are they gonna say? I mean, is there gonna be no dialogue? You know what I mean? Because English wouldn't have existed. We're probably like really overthinking it, but
No, because I don't know. Have you never seen Apocalypto?
I've never seen that. No, I don't think I've even heard of that movie.
Dude, it's pretty much a movie about the fucking Mayans, and it's like all in like their language. There's no bit of English.
It's like the only part of Christ.
Sure, but I mean, it's pretty much talking about like, I don't know, the whole premise of Apocalypto is like this tribe that gets invaded by another tribe, and one of them escapes, and they're trying to hunt him down.
Yeah,
there's little to no dialogue in it, but when there is pretty much in their native tongue. And honestly, it's a pretty solid movie, and I could see that happening with the Predator, because obviously, as you could tell, Predator doesn't have any dialogue. And
right. I'm thinking more like the main characters, you know.
What were you expecting it to happen in like fucking 1872 fucking Great Britain?
I don't know. I mean, it just said way back in time, which I guess really way back in time would have to be like, I would think like 1700 or before at least.
No, you're still thinking like that. That's still like within like. That's still within like. How can I put this? Modernized civilians. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're kind of modern. Like they all have like
It's not really modern, but it was on its way there.
Yeah, like it was they're civilized.
Because
that's the way I think about it.
Yeah.
Because
that's true. That's fair.
I think with this one, if I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere about it. It was gonna be like with like tribesmen or like that era. I can't think of what the name of that era could be, but it's gonna be around that era. I'm pretty sure, and I'm completely 100% for that, because it would have that Apocalypto vibe. Yeah, and I love that movie.
So very cool. Well, let's read on here. Well, I can tell you four things, Davis said. Dan is a brilliant director, and watching dailies, you just understand how his vision is completely unique. He's got his own language, and it's fresh, it's cool, and it's interesting. Davis also revealed the main hero of the film will be a woman, but we did not get a name or backstory just yet. Secondly, this is the Predator origin story. This is the Predator's first journey to this planet. This is our lead. Our hero is female, which I always think is interesting. I guess I did that with Predator versus Aliens, right? With Sana Lathan? Sana? I don't know.
Oh,
Predator versus
true.
Aliens.
He said that weird. It's Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right at all.
It's AVP.
You know, the other cool thing about this is not only are we going to get to see like people's first time seeing a predator, we're going to get to see a predator's first time seeing human beings, which is pretty dope. Like the more and more I think about it, I'm like, oh, that could be kind of cool. Like, I mean, like it's cool to see Arnold running around with a minute gun in the jungle. Yeah. But like at the same time, this is gonna be kind of cool too. Like I'm down for it.
Yeah, well, I'm more excited to see how the Predator looks because pretty much I'm sure if you guys are Predator fans or fans of that franchise, you know, like the most recent one, like they just went so futuristic.
Yeah.
Like are you talking about Predators? No, Predators is like the one with like they were all kidnapped and taken to the fucking planet.
That's the one with Adrian Brody. I liked that movie.
Yeah, well, there's another one after that. Did you know that?
I haven't seen it though.
Yeah, it got real like Tony Stark nanotech-ish.
Really?
Quick. Yeah, it did. But and also like it continued with the what's it called? The lore of like evolving predators.
Yeah.
And like there was like the big like prime predator, I guess is the name. I don't fucking know. But so yeah, we kind of like reached the limit of like what a predator can do. I would love to see like what the predators were like. I'm pretty sure like before the tech, like before like the high like technology-ish
scaled back a little bit.
Yeah, scale it back where we actually see his like skills and not like relying on fucking technology. You know what I mean? Because every single one of the predators were all like relying on their technology, and he gets stripped down to the point where all you see is his fucking crab face.
Yeah, absolutely. So Davis said the best comparison to make within the franchise is the first one, adding that he feels they captured what made the one so special and iconic in Skull. The fourth thing about it is it goes back to what made the original Predator movie work. It's the ingenuity. I don't know what I'm doing. Ingenuity of a human being. I know. Ingenuity of a human being who won't give up, who is able to observe and interpret, basically being able to beat a stronger and more powerful, well-armed force. Fox actually feels it better compared to a movie outside of the franchise, saying it actually has more akin to it to The Revenant than it does any film in the Predator canon. Ooh, that's interesting. You'll know what I mean once you see it. The duo also revealed that the film is about a third of the way through filming already, and while they wouldn't reveal a timeline as to when it takes place, they did say, you can use your imagination, it is early. They were also asked about the rating, and they are sure yet if it will be rated R or PG-13, so there is a little bit of a Predator update.
I'm down for it. Fucking rated R.
Yeah, it better be rated R. The Revenant thing that's interesting. The Revenant was a great. I've only ever seen it one time. Did you see The Revenant with Leo?
It's a fucking great movie. Like it
is wild.
I love it so much though.
It's good, but it's wild.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what his name is, but my man took L's left and right. He took everything to the face and just kept going.
The Predator is going to be the bear.
No, I want the Predator. I don't know. I get why the main character has to be human, but it would be really dope for the Predator to be
the main character, like you follow the Predator.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then
that'd
have that like the Revenant thing, where like he just takes L's left and right by these chicks with sticks, and like and he's just over here just like rocking it.
That's interesting. It also interests
Well,
me.
it's a female character, so like obviously, yeah, it's gonna be a woman kicking the Predator's ass.
It's gonna be
So
like
like
Ripley.
I would, yeah, exactly. I'm all for like those hard ass
bitch.
Yeah, I'm all for those hard ass women characters. They fucking love it. I fucking love it.
Sure.
I love it. Ripley. Who else? Lori and golly, I literally just spaced out.
Nancy,
I
Sydney.
know a couple more. Yep.
All Go for it.
Fucking hell. I love seeing them rock hour.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by this. I honestly, I wasn't. I liked AVP. I think I liked AVP Requiem more than I liked the first Alien versus Predator. I really liked Predators, and I think I've always liked Predator a little bit more than Alien. What would you say between the two like big Alien franchises?
I like both in their own right.
That's fair. Alien is more horror based than Predator is, and I know, I guess, I don't know, you could say Predator rides that line. There's always a big debate in the horror community on whether Predator is like a horror movie or not. But
well, you almost like root for the Predator. You know what I mean? In those movies.
Yeah.
In Aliens, you just want that bastard to burn. Like you hate to see that thing crawling around in the fucking screen.
I'll tell
like,
you
every
what,
time you see it like running around the fucking movies. Like what was it? Was it Alien Covenant?
I didn't see Alien Covenant.
Dog, Alien Covenant.
I haven't seen like, the two most recent Alien films.
It has like new like versions of the aliens or the xenomorphs. That's the name of them, by the way. I know the name.
I know, yeah.
But they have different like variants, no pun intended. But they have different variants of xenomorphs in that movie, and they are fucking scary. Like they really are. Like that's something I don't want to. I that was something I would see in my nightmares. A Predator. That's like my action hero wet dream, where it's like, yes, put me in a position where I gotta fight the Predator and I win. Like that's how I imagine it. It's more actiony for me. It's like I want to see a battle out. I want to see, because the reason here, because here's the thing. With the Predator, like he's always like battling hunting different types of humans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like each one of them have like a different type of trait. Like you say with Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was just a Marine, or I don't know, he was a soldier, and he was dealing with them. I think Predator 2, it was with Mel Gibson. Did you know that? The I'm too old for this shit kind of guy.
Well, yeah, but it also had Danny Glover, and Gary Busey was in that.
Damn, I'm talking. Yeah, Danny Glover.
Did you mean Danny Glover?
I'm sorry, I did. I don't know why I said Mel Gibson.
What?
Anyways, he was like
Bill Paxton was in that movie too.
Was he really? Oh yeah, he was. Yeah. Holy shit,
the Predator movies would be a fun commentary to do. That'd be a good time.
It would.
You know what always cracked me up is in the original. I don't remember what his name was. He was the guy with that big long like knife. When he knew he was gonna die, but he was gonna like face Predator anyways. When he walks out on the bridge and he like takes that like safari knife and like makes the whole cut on his chest, I was like, what are you doing?
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Well, that's like, bro.
That goes back to my thing. It's like the Predator experiences like different types of human beings.
Yeah.
And he sits there and he's like the Michael Myers. He's like, oh, okay.
He studies them.
Yeah, it's so like interesting.
It's like he finds them interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's cool.
That's what made Predators so good, like the one you're talking about, because they had like different types of soldiers or different types of people, and my favorite one was
Predators.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're all. It was like the next level Predators hunting them. So, but it was just the fact that these Predators hunt different types of humans, and they love different types of challenges. Because my favorite scene out of the Predators was the Yakuza gangster, whenever they had the sword fight. Like that specific Predator right there, I feel like each of them chose a soldier and they said, this is the one I'm hunting. So I think that Predator right there wanted to hunt that Yakuza man, because the way he like shoved out his sword, I was like, oh, this guy hunted. This guy watched Japanese warriors throughout time and just wanted to be able to take on like one of them. and they chose a Yakuza member. It was so badass, and it really put into perspective like how hard these predators study their prey. It's
Absolutely.
awesome. That's one of the reasons why I love the Predators, just from that aspect.
For sure. So that'll definitely be one to watch. I'm interested in not only seeing humans and the Predator like interact for the first time, but also seeing it set thousands of years in the past. Like that's going to be pretty interesting on how they do that, because I mean, obviously, I don't know. Like we said, the Predator's like his tech may have to be scaled down a little bit because it's farther back, but people had no tech at that time either. You know what I mean? So exactly. I don't know. So that'll be interesting.
If you were to put a Predator, like Alien versus Predator era, if you were to put a Predator from that era to that time, that would be straight up overkill. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Like you can't do that. It would be, the movie would end within like 15 minutes. So it's like, yeah, you got to scale them down. Just
some of their tech in those movies are wild.
They really are though, right? And you can, and like, like the Predator already has like some sort of sensory sight or whatever. Like, when the mask goes off, he still has some type of sensory thing. So like, I don't know. It would be nice to see it. It would be nice to see what they started off with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because obviously they have tech. They're gonna have tech if they're able to travel through space.
Right.
But it has to be dialed back, just so at least we know, like, what's her name? Xena Warrior Princess can like have a bout. Like, can have like a fair fight with him.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Yeah. Well, so next I'm gonna pick a story because you're not ready. So the Jaws musical is set to debut in 2022. Yes, you heard that right. A Jaws musical. Let me elaborate. This makes me laugh my ass off. So comicbook.com, coming in strong. The Jaws musical set to debut in Seattle. Hey, there's our boy. We were just talking about Predator.
There he is.
There he is.
You
are one ugly mother. It's kind of funny. We were just talking about that. Why is it playing Predator right now?
Bro,
was it like listening to? And there's John Goodman and James
I think
Bond.
It's talking about all like the big blockbuster movies coming out.
Yeah. Moving on. I mean, yeah. So this is buku wild. Originally slated to debut this year, the Jaws-themed musical Bruce will now be opening in Seattle in 2022 per Deadline. The play earns its title from the nickname given to the mechanical shark used during production of Steven Spielberg's 1975 blockbuster, with Bruce serving as an adaptation of screenwriter Carl Gaultier's The Jaws Log, which chronicles the making of the film. Bruce was initially slated to open at the Seattle Rep Theater before opening at New Jersey's Paper Mill Playhouse during the 2021 season, with the coronavirus pandemic seeing those plans altered. Bruce is currently slated to open at Seattle Rep in May of 2022 and is still expected to move to the Paper Mill Playhouse after that. The musical will be directed and choreographed by Stratford Festival's Donna Fiore, with music by Richard O'Breaker and book and lyrics by Robert Taylor and Richard O'Breaker. What?
So wait, is this not going to be like? Is it not going to be like the actual like movie adaptation? It's just going to be an adaptation of the shark itself.
I think it's going to be It's not a musical about the plot of Jaws, like of Peter Benchley's novel or of Spielberg's movie. It's like a chronicalization of the making of the movie, because like famously, I mean, there's a whole documentary about it. Famously, Jaws was a terrible movie to make. Like, they almost abandoned the project. Spielberg like almost quit multiple times. Jaws was a disaster. The shark didn't work. There were a million things that wouldn't cooperate. It didn't get made. And of course, it kind of was like a happy accident in that you were supposed to see the shark Like the very first death scene in Jaws, when the naked girl, gets pulled under the water and whatever. You were supposed to see the shark like eating her, and of course, the thing that I think makes Jaws so scary is that you don't see the shark until like almost 35-40 minutes into the movie. So I think it worked out, and of course Jaws is, I mean it's Jaws, you know what I mean? It's one of the most iconic movies ever made. So this is going to be like a basically a production that is a chronological timeline of how the movie was made,
gonna be
which
like
is very interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting. The musical was previously described chronicling the making of an iconic movie. Bruce tells the story of then unknown director Steven Spielberg's beleaguered film set and the challenges that thwarted his team at every turn, including the film's star, an uncooperative mechanical shark named Bruce. At its heart, the show proves that when we are faced with hardship and work together as a team, great things can happen. Who thought of this?
I want the act. I hope we get a Steven Spielberg character that sings.
Oh, I guarantee you will.
Yeah.
Guarantee you will.
I would love to see that. This sounds like something I want to see now. At first I was thinking, okay, it's just gonna be a musical about the fucking plot. That sounds kind of vanilla. But this looks interesting.
You have people da 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 doing the thing, bum 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 bum. Understandably,
is it gonna be video recorded, or is it gonna be like? Do you have to be at Seattle to watch it?
I don't know. I have no idea. I would love to see it. I'm not gonna lie. I would sit down and watch the whole thing just because I'm that
100% same. Yeah, I would
just because I'm that curious. Understandably, Jaws might not seem like the most obvious property to center a musical around, but with other horror films like The Evil Dead and Beetlejuice also earning musical adaptations, what the hell? It's far from the first to venture into that realm. Following the debut, really? I know. I was like, there's an Evil Dead musical? Like, what?
I'm down with that too.
Where did any of this come from? And like, why did I not know that it existed?
Exactly.
Very interesting. Following the debut Jaws hitting the theaters in 1975, it serves as the first genuine summer blockbuster, with the film's successes and lengthy lines to score movie tickets coining such a phrase. The film, which was based on the Peter Benchley novel of the same name, earned 3 sequels, but unlike any other properties, has yet to earn an official remake or reboot. I'm kind of in team, we don't need to remake Jaws.
No,
I just don't. I think it's.
I think it's good enough. I mean, it's like what we talked about with JayTee. It's like pretty much every generation is gonna have some type of remake of a classic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I figured it is. It's obviously not going to be as what's it called? Like culturally impactful as the original Jaws, but
yeah.
I mean, it'll collect some revenue.
Right.
Somebody's going to get rich off it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Despite how unlikely a reboot might seem, original production designer Joe Alves isn't entirely opposed to the idea, as he knows the chemistry between the characters is more important than the techniques used to bring the shark to life. I kind of agree, but also, if they ever remake Jaws, they don't need to use a CGI shark, and we've talked about that before. They just don't. But, of course, they would use a CGI. Well, there's so many shark things, and everything's made in CGI. They're perfectly clean-looking sharks, and you could do everything in CGI. Alves reported to comicbook.com in 2020, so it's a whole different thing, and what happened with CGI and some of these new shark movies is they just overuse it. Why have one shark when you could have 100 sharks because we keep duplicating the CGI? So let me say this. I saw Jaws 2 years ago because we had, in Catalina, there was a museum there, and they had a 6-month display of all the Jaws illustrations. Greg Nicotero made the 3 characters full size and all this stuff, and they had a screening at night on a big screen. I hadn't seen it on a big screen for a long time, and what I realized, what was really the thing about the movie that was the 3 characters. He added it was 3 guys on a boat, totally different people. Old crusty fisherman, the shark biologist, smartass kid, and the cop that didn't want to be on the boat at all. And that's true. I mean, I will say that the relationship between Brody and Quint and what's his name? Richard Dreyfuss's character. What's his name?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I forget. I mean, it's what makes the movie. It's really, really. I mean, it's great. It's some of the best character development ever. And so I realized the movie's not really about a shark. It's about those people and their relationship. And then the shark appears. But you take that away, and that's the brilliant stuff was Spielberg's direction. So I think that was the movie. Duplicating that today, it's like making Gone with the Wind again. We're going to have to stay tuned for new details on Bruce.
I'm 100% for it, man. I'm not gonna lie.
I really want to see it. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm curious.
They should have the fucking mechanical. They should actually have Bruce there. You know what I mean? Like, where the fuck is Bruce?
I don't know. I don't know if that's still around. I mean, it
has to. Like
45. No, 40. No, longer than that. It's been almost 50 years since that movie came out.
No, pause. I'm pretty sure they have that shark somewhere.
Really? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what happened.
Where is Bruce the shark? Yep, it's already questioned. It's in the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures.
Oh, it's in that new museum then. I would love to go see that, man. That'd be awesome. I would love to go see that. So it's like on display, like the actual shark they used.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. 100%. Dude, it's pretty cool. It looks pretty dope.
That is
really cool, actually. Yeah, they need to have that shark. They need to have Bruce come back. I'm just saying, like, just risk the damage. Bruce is already like a hellish thing to deal with during the time. I mean, what's a couple more deaths gonna happen? You know what I mean?
Let's look at this. Bruce the shark, my friends. There he is in all his glory.
Holy shit, Bruce is fucking huge.
Yeah, he's
like
big,
compared to a dude.
He's a big boy. Well, hell, look at him when he ate Quint in that scene. I mean, he's massive. He was huge.
Wait, was it mechanically like? Did someone ride in it like a bike?
There's Alves, yeah, Joe Alves. So he's the guy who actually designed it.
He looks
That's
like
pretty
the type
cool,
of dude
man.
that would build a fucking mechanical shark.
That's pretty cool. Very, very cool. I still think, man,
hold on.
It looks good.
New musical.
That's Spielberg.
Oh my god, I want Spielberg in booty shorts in the musical. I want that.
You're probably gonna. If it's about the making of it, you're probably gonna get it. Would you take a picture? Like, would you sit in the jaws of it?
Hell yeah. It's fake. Why not?
See? Man, it's big.
That's pretty fucking hilarious.
That's the guy who plays Quint. I don't remember what his name was. That's pretty cool, man.
Golly, that really makes me think of like how much of a fucking hassle that movie was.
I love that movie, man. Jaws is one of the best movies of all time. Like, it just is. I mean, there's something about it. And you know, I know a lot of movies from 60s and 70s, kind of even 80s now. They just don't. The effects don't hold up. Something about it just doesn't hold up. But Jaws holds up. You know, it doesn't look bad at all. Well, it really doesn't.
Do you know what that reminds me of? Like the fucking hell that they went through, like to make that movie with Bruce. That reminds me of like the Godzilla movies, because you know back then it wasn't CGI. Like guys, before Legendary Godzilla, it was a dude in a suit, which I think it was like the Showa period. The guy who would don the suit, his name was like, I really can't say it. It was Haruo Nakajima. He recently died, like in like 2017, but he was the guy that wore the suit. And I remember reading, and one of the books I have up here, he talked about like how fucking hellish it was, because it'd be really hot and up there in the studio. And he would literally have like heat strokes in that fucking thing. And
Wow.
I see pictures in it because it's just a big old rubber suit and it's zipped up and you really have no place of ventilations.
Yeah.
Because I mean, 1970 studios were not that, high tech. So
Right.
he just has to sit there and just fucking bake.
Yeah.
And that just reminds me of like the hellish thing of like having to do like those big budget, but at the same time, like you have to do this to make the monster seem real. You know what I mean? So like, because you can't just have a Godzilla with like puppets. That's the reason why Hollywood movie monsters never worked, because they either did like the puppet stuff, like in Kong, or like the stop motion like puppets.
Yeah.
For Kong,
that's what the original King Kong movie is. That it's stop motion, and he looks very like.
Exactly, like you could tell.
It's strange.
Or you could have the one where it was like, I don't know if you know this, like back when there was like, when they were trying to like emphasize big monsters, they just did like enlarged versions of like normal creatures, like the iguana. They literally had an iguana walk through a fucking like miniature town, and they were emphasizing that's a creature.
Yeah,
that was okay. That was great for his time, I'm sure, but I was like, dog, that looks like dog water.
Right.
So they obviously had to go all out for Godzilla, which I am 100% like. I 100% like I'm all for them. Like I am proud of what they did, because when the 1954 Godzilla came out, that was a suit. It wasn't stop motion. It was a full-on suit. The guy wore a suit, Haru Nakajima.
Yeah.
And he wore that shit, and I'm pretty sure that was hell for him, because I'm pretty sure the first iteration, I would love to see the first 1954 Godzilla suit just to see how terrible it was to wear. Because I gotta say, this guy probably,
it was probably like thick rubber.
Thick rubber. It was like probably like rubber that you get that you use for like a tire.
Yeah.
The skin is just really like hardened. So like, oh god, yeah, I can't imagine what it looked like or what the experience was of wearing it.
And you probably couldn't move very much, because I mean, if you look at his movements, it's very like.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He's got that like penguin waddle like thing going on.
Yeah, stiff like a board. You really don't have any motion whatsoever. Yeah. The people that were able to do that back then, and like the people who did all that work to make these great movies of monsters, yeah, 100%. Like round of applause for you, honestly. I couldn't do it.
Well, it's funny because relating that back to Jaws, I think the first, because they actually filmed Jaws in Martha's Vineyard, and I think when they actually lowered the shark into the water, like into the ocean for the first time, I think it sank. I think it had stuff that was supposed to make it, move and swim. I mean, it was an animatronic, and I think the first time they ever lowered it in water, it sank to the bottom because it was too heavy. So it was like, well, crap. So now we got to go back, and they had to like take it apart and try to make it lighter and take parts out and like add different things in. I mean, it was a disaster the entire time to get that movie made. But it's just funny that it was such an issue and it was such a problem. Yet, I mean, look how good Jaws looks. You know what I mean? It looks so good.
It's wild. I just imagine Steven Spielberg, like, if there was ever like a commentary, I'm sure there is. I'm pretty sure he's just like sitting in the studio smoking a cigarette, just like over like. Yeah, man. That movie was fucking rough.
It was terrible.
That scene right there, it took about a month just to fucking film. That shark just wouldn't fucking comprehend us. Yeah.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine though? You take months and months and you build this dope looking shark, and it's like, man, but this is gonna look really cool. This is gonna be awesome, and you lower it in, and it just goes.
And then, yeah, I would be
just
pissed.
Sinks right to the bottom.
Well, when you said that, I thought the way you stated like how it sank, I was like, so wait, so are you telling me right that there's an animatronic shark in the bottom of the ocean somewhere? Like that's what I was thinking.
No,
like, can you imagine
diving,
just seeing that thing just sitting there? Yeah, that'd be freaky as fuck, because that shark actually looks scary. You know what I mean?
It looks good. It looks real, and I think that's where CGI sharks go wrong. Is I don't know. They move too quickly. Sharks don't move that quick. They don't. sharks don't behave like they behave in movies. Like, people don't understand that. Sharks, and I mean, I'm not gonna say shark. I mean, sharks don't growl. Like, there's a few times where you actually hear the shark in Jaws, and he's got like a raw, like kind of thing going on. They don't growl, but I mean, it's not. I don't know. They just. It's like CGI sharks are like too overboard. You know what I mean? They're too like they move quick. I mean, they move quicker than you can even see them. They just they don't act right, and I think that's why it worries me that if they ever did remake Jaws, that I mean, you could do CGI, and let's be honest, they would do CGI because it'd be cheaper than building an animatronic and having to actually put it in the water and film it that way and stuff. But it just they would have to take their time with it, and they would have to do it right.
100% agree.
But in terms of a musical, man, that's going to be I have to find it. I hope they pull a Hamilton and put it on something because I want to watch it.
Exactly. I would love to see that.
That's awesome. All right, so where do you want to go next? We still have a ton of movie news to talk about. We have some Walking Dead stuff. We have some more horror news. We have some Spider-Man stuff. What do you want to
do? You mentioned something about the Titanic and the Terminator. What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, so I love fan theories, and it's like, let's take a way to find two of the most polar opposite movies and say that they're connected and they're part of the same universe, blah, blah, blah. Say Titanic, the Terminator, so be it. The Titanicator.
The fuck are you talking about? Is it gonna be like John Connor with Leonardo DiCaprio or some bullshit like that?
Yeah. Hold me, Jack, if you want to live.
Oh my goodness.
So, I know this is on We Got This Covered. I am not promoting We Got This Covered, but this is where I saw this, and
it's almost like a satire, guys. Just calm down.
I know. It was too funny not to talk about it. Wild Fan Theory says that Titanic is actually a Terminator prequel. What the hell again? Not all cinematic universes have to be made blatantly obvious through a series of sequels and spin-offs. I can't talk. With the works of both Quentin Tarantino and Adam Sandler occupying a shared reality through recurring characters and Easter eggs. However, a wild theory has offered that James Cameron's Titanic is actually a prequel to his Terminator franchise. And when the dots are connected, it's far from the most outlandish thing we've ever heard. As you may have guessed, the crux is that Leonardo DiCaprio's Jack Dawson has been sent from the future to protect Kate Winslet's Rose DeWitt Whittaker at all costs. Admittedly, a lot of it is based on anachronisms and historical inaccuracies found throughout the 195-minute epic, but let's run with it for a moment. Are we saying Jack was a Terminator that was sent back in time?
No.
On the Titanic? No. Because if he was a Terminator, he wouldn't have died.
No, what he's saying is, boy, have you not seen the Terminator?
Of course I've seen the Terminator.
They send, what's his name? I forget his fucking name. The father of John Connor.
There's our boy.
Kyle Reese. They send Kyle Reese back to save Sarah Connor. It's kind of the same thing. Like, they just sent some fucking grunt to save her, I guess.
Grunt.
But it's like, yeah. Yeah, because obviously it's not no Kyle Reese, because why would you do that? But
it's Kyle Reese versus this.
Kyle what?
Kyle Reese versus this.
Oh my god. Yeah. I would love to see, like, if instead of Leonardo DiCaprio, it would be Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's just so monotone. He doesn't have that suave, sophisticated talk that Leo had in that movie. And it's just him, Arnold Schwarzenegger, just like, yes.
We have to get to the bow. The ship is sinking.
We have to get to the bow.
All right. There is plenty of evidence to suggest that Jack is from the future, where he sports a haircut and uses several linguistic terms that were very much out of place for 1912, not to mention the fact that he carries his luggage around in a Swedish army backpack that wasn't issued until 1939. Wow, this person really did their homework. On top of that, he says he used to go ice fishing on Lake Wissota, a man-made body of water that wasn't created until 1917, as well as his desire to ride the roller coaster at Santa Monica Pier with Rose, which wasn't built until 4 years after the Titanic sank. Additionally, the theory goes on to claim that he was forced to gamble for his ticket onto the ship because he didn't have any currency specific to the time period on his person. By saving Rose from jumping off the bow and falling in love with her, his death also gave her a reason to continue living even after the Great Floating Door controversy. Rounding things out, their night of passion resulted in Rose's pregnancy, leading to the birth of one Sarah Connor's parents, which eerily mirrors the relationship between Sarah and Kyle Reese in The Terminator over 70 years later.
Shut the fuck up.
So, let's recap here. So, Jack was sent back in time to save Rose from the Titanic sinking, and by saving Rose and Jack dying, Rose then gave birth to Sarah Connor's parents, which gave birth to Sarah Connor, which Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator was sent to kill, which Kyle Reese went back in time to save. Wow.
This is a common
I love
theory.
Fan theories.
No, look, the common theory was like, yes, Jack was from the future. Like that was a known theory.
You had heard of that before this?
I've heard of the theory that, of all the dialogue that Jack has had in the movie, where it's like, okay, that's suspicious because these things haven't happened yet. So
it's a little sus, my guy.
Yes, a little sus, my guy. But then the guy just like, so it had to be the Terminator. I was like, what the fuck? They literally connected one of the most outlandish future movies to the fucking Titanic. It would have been way cooler if it was like, fucking Back to the Future or some shit like that. They had the DeLorean or something like that, just sitting in the dock. But no, they just went
Terminator
full metal into the fucking Terminator. I was like, okay, you lost me there. I thought it was gonna be some like legitimate like news that the producer, like the directors that were like talking, making like chit chat. But no, this is just some fucking fan theory. Get the fuck out.
This theory is officially called the Titanicator, by the way.
This guy gets no points for me today.
Oh, now typically I wouldn't give We Got This Covered the time of day, but this was too much fun and it was too hilarious not to talk about. I wanted to bring it up. What do you guys think in the comments below? Tell us. Are
We Got This Covered?
Are the Terminator? Like the onion. I know. Are the Terminator and Titanic actually related? Was Jack sent from the future? Is Rose Sarah Connor's grandmother? Yes, grandmother.
See, he literally just copied an entire fucking fan theory that someone else made and then just added like, 4 or 5 sentences connected to Terminator. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Okay, whoever wrote that, man, boo to you. Boo to you.
That's all I gotta say. They're gonna release a box set one day, and it's gonna be like Titanic, Terminator, T2, Judgment Day, T3, Rise of the Machines. It's just gonna be like all of them together, and Titanic is gonna be lodged in there. So I thought that was fun. Let's do this.
That. You know what I would do? I would straight up, just to fuck with people later on in my life, I would get a full disc collection of the Terminator.
Yeah.
And then I would do exactly that. I would get a copy of the Titanic, put it right there next to the first one, and people are like, why is that there? I'll be like, well, let me tell you about this theory. And they're gonna look at me like, what?
They're gonna be like, the Titanic was like a true event, right? You're gonna be like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe awesome. That's why you never heard of Jack and Jack and what's her face?
Rose.
Yeah, because that's why you didn't hear it in the real life events, because they were actually from the future. There you go.
So is Jack Rose's grandfather when they made love in the car in Titanic? Did he get Rose pregnant?
Maybe. It would make sense instead of
we are looking at Sarah Connor's lineage.
If instead of icebergs that crashed the boat, it was actually just
Arnold.
2 or 3. Yeah, it was 2 or 3 Terminators just like attacking the ship. Pretty much, I could totally see that. Yeah, sure, why not?
There's a lost cut of Titanic where instead of like racing around the ship trying to like find their way up and stuff, it's really they're running from Terminators.
Yeah, you know the violin players.
And they were Titanic?
Terminators. Yeah.
They were Terminators. They survived. Yeah. They're robots.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome, man.
You know why Jack went down to the? You know why Jack just sunk into the bottom? Because he's a lightweight boy. No, the Terminator caught him and just pulled him down.
I thought you were going to say he's made of metal.
No, the Terminator was like, my mission is complete. My mission is a success. As he pulls
so awesome. Let's talk The Walking Dead for a little bit. You good with that?
Yeah.
Because there's some Walking Dead stuff on the horizon that's kind of, I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about it. So part 1 of the final season of TWD premieres in less than 3 weeks now, and we're both hyped for it. And Angela Kang and Scott M. Gimple gave us some new insight into the 4th spinoff of The Walking Dead, starring Daryl and Carol. And this series will take place after the events of The Walking Dead. And according to Angela Kang, it will be a lighter toned road show.
How do you make a zombie show lighter?
I know. So here's what she said. This was on Deadline Hollywood's podcast. We've definitely talked about how we think We've definitely talked about how we think we land them and where they kind of tip off to. We have pitched out what we think is the pilot, and it's all in development, which is on its own schedule. Things are still in the process of being broken by beats and written and all of that, but we at least have a plan which hopefully will work out. And she also told the LA Times, not in a way that feels frivolous, but I think, like all of us, are looking to have fun in that world. It's a road show. I hope I can say that. And so I think this will feel distinct. It's definitely something that Norman and Melissa and I and Scott have all talked about, what we crave tonally. So what she's saying here is that they're craving a lighter toned Walking Dead series? Am I understanding that correctly?
I guess. I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about that, because like you're building up this dark, like they've bragged about how dark the final season of TWD is going to be. I feel like, I don't know. I hope that it makes me nervous, because I fear that The Walking Dead is going to have a huge, epic, dark final season, and then this 4th spinoff about Daryl and Carol is just going to continue the story for the sake of continuing the story. It's not really going to add anything. So I fear that there's not really going to be any weight or any merit to the fact that they're continuing it. I hope there's a good reason that they're like pushing the narrative forward, and it worries me that they're not just going to leave it alone, you know? And I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, again, like The Walking Dead just going to continuously like build and build. Like they're going to keep beating this dead horse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty much my 2 cents right there. Like, also, every time you kept saying like
road show.
Yeah, I kept thinking of like Roadhouse. You know what I mean? With like, what's his name? Who's the guy that's in Roadhouse?
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about? You really don't know what I'm talking about?
This is going to be Wild Hogs, but it's going to be like Wild Hogs Walking Dead version. That's what this is going to be. I don't know. I hope, you know, my original thought was that The Walking Dead is going to end, and then to end the whole thing They're going to have this movie trilogy, and maybe at the end of the movie trilogy, The Walking Dead, World Beyond, Fear the Walking Dead, Rick, and whatever happens in that trilogy, and all of those characters are all going to come back together, and that'll be the end of The Walking Dead. And that's kind of what I wish would happen, but it doesn't seem that they're moving that way. And I mean,
Not the case, yeah.
I get that, like, you know, we've talked about this. We check out our zombie episode if you want to, you know, if you want to hear us talk more about this. I think it's episode. It's in the 20s. It's in our last like season. But I don't know. There are hundreds of thousands of different stories you could tell within the zombie apocalypse universe. But The Walking Dead has done something a little bit different. You know what I mean? It's not an anthology type thing where you're telling different stories. Especially with characters like Daryl and Carol, like they're like two of the main characters, and they have been since the beginning. So I don't want them to have a serious character arc all the way through the final season and in the movies, and then just have this like other show that's kind of like just for fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't know. I want it to matter. Like I want it to matter for the whole greater story. And I worry that it's not. I worry that it's just going to be kind of like there. And Scott M. Gimple also told the LA Times, with Daryl and Carol, I can't say too much about it, but I will say it's going to be very different from The Walking Dead. It's going to have a much different tone, a different mission churning under it, and there would be characters all around Daryl and Carol. So there's going to be more characters. So, like, I don't know. It kind of sounds like really unsure. I mean,
when it's a different tone, I immediately thought of like Alexandria Carol. Like Mama Carol.
Yeah. They're going to turn it into a comedy.
Yeah, I'll fucking know.
My life wasn't a tragedy. It was a comedy. They're going to get Joaquin. No. Joaquin Phoenix is like going to narrate.
Walking Dead.
Joaquin Phoenix is going to start narrating The Walking Dead from here on.
No, Morgan Freeman will. 100%. If this new Daryl and Carol show, it'll be narrated by Morgan Freeman.
He slashed his ass with a knife. So, I don't know. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, World Beyond is a limited series. It's moving towards the Rick movies. Fear the Walking Dead is kind of on its own path. I know there's been some speculation that maybe the CRM and Commonwealth and things like that are going to make an appearance in the next season of Fear the Walking Dead, which is very possible. Since so many of the characters from The Walking Dead and Fear are starting to cross over with each other now. And I mean, The Walking Dead is ending. I've always felt that the movie trilogy about Rick needs to be where the story ends up. And I don't want the end of The Walking Dead to feel unsatisfactory. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to... The beginning of the show was so strong. Like, that first season was incredible, and I don't want the end to just be, like, lukewarm and kind of like, okay.
It's going to be like a Sopranos ending. You know what I mean?
Where it just kind of stops.
Yeah, it just cuts out of nowhere.
I don't know. I hope not. I hope I feel satisfied with the ending, but this kind of makes me question that. I don't know how satisfied we're going to be.
Yeah, don't keep your hopes up, buddy.
And it hurts me because I love this series so much.
Same, but I get the whole wanting to pursue this franchise more and more. So, I mean, you see what happens whenever franchises try to like milk every ounce of entertainment. It ends up getting stale.
That's fair. It's fair. We'll have to see. We will have to see. Let's talk some horror news, if that's okay with you. Couple of interesting things. Let's talk about The Exorcist. Have you seen what's going on with The Exorcist?
We talked about it before, didn't we?
We talked about it with JayTee a little bit in the next episode of the main show. If you're a horror fan, you know that The Exorcist from 1973, one of the most iconic movies of all time. At least one of the most iconic horror movies of all time. Linda Blair gave a terrifying performance in that movie as Regan, and I know for a fact that this movie scared the hell out of a lot of people and probably scarred a lot of people for life. Because for 1973, The Exorcist is
It's still to this day a scary, like one of the scariest movies out there.
Have you ever seen The Exorcist?
Yeah. I went to
It's
confession
whack, man.
afterwards. No.
Man, The Exorcist, it's not only out there, but it's also like it's pretty crude for an early 70s horror flick, especially one that stars a child, like a little girl. Like some of the stuff that Reagan says in that movie, even for today's standards, is like, wow.
Oh yeah,
like
Reagan would immediately, or the director would have immediately gotten canceled. Let's not beat around the bush here.
Yeah,
if The Exorcist came out now, it would have been canceled.
Yeah, especially almost with this whole there. And I'm not commenting on cancel culture and all that. Like I'm not going there. But
I am. Yeah. Cancel culture sucks.
But you're right though. If The Exorcist came out today, it would be frowned upon by society for some of the stuff that Reagan says.
Bro, listen, if The Exorcist came out, I promise you, it would have gotten the same amount of heat as it did back then, but probably even more, because since we have social media, we have internet, we have fucking 24-hour news cycles. Yeah, it would be in the spotlight so much if that would have came out again. Yeah, because the movie was just so fucking out there. It really it triggered a lot of people, especially the religious folks, Catholics and everything. Whatever religion, if you believed in God and all that stuff, oh yeah, The Exorcist really just kicked you in the balls, kicked you in your religious balls. It really did, 100%.
I remember my dad talking about this movie because him and I are both big horror fans, and I remember him saying that when at the movie theater, they passed out barf bags as you went in to go see this.
Yeah, because this movie was fucking rough.
Yeah, it was very rough. And a while back, we all thought that David Gordon Green was remaking The Exorcist. We knew there was something coming down the pipe, but we didn't really know what it was. But in an interview with Total Film magazine, David Gordon Green confirmed that his movie would be a sequel to the original Exorcist, the same way that Halloween 2018 was a sequel to the original Halloween from 1978. But it's now been confirmed that Universal has spent over $400 million, and they're creating a new sequel trilogy helmed by David Gordon Green to the original 1973 film.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's check this out. I saw this on Bloody Disgusting. Let me pull up the article here. There's my boy Freddie. Join our mailing list.
Oh my God. Thanks. MTV Freddie.
MTV Freddie. There we go. Putting on the sunglasses on the beach. So Universal and Peacock spend a whopping $400 million for a new Exorcist trilogy. Ellen Bernstein to reprise her role. There's an awesome shot of Reagan sitting on the bed with, of course, The Exorcist right there. Major breaking news that will have your head spinning. Pun intended. Universal Pictures has teamed up with Peacock to close a $400 million plus mega deal to buy a new Exorcist trilogy, reports the New York Times. Donna Langley, the film studio chairwoman, teamed with Peacock, NBC Universal's fledgling streaming service, to make the purchase, which is expected to be announced this week, according to 3 people briefed on the matter. These people, who spoke on the condition of the anonymity to discuss the still private deal, said the price was in the vicinity of the $465 million that Netflix paid in March for 2 sequels to the 2019 Whodunit Knives Out. Man, they're paying almost $500 million for The Exorcist. That's big. Man, that's a lot of money. That may be more money than they paid for Halloween.
Really?
I don't know how much money they paid for Halloween. I could be completely wrong, but that's a lot of money. Leslie Odom Jr. will star in the new Exorcist trilogy, the first of which is confirmed to be directed by David Gordon Green, which is pretty interesting because Leslie Odom Jr. is a fantastic musician. He's a really good actor. He was in Hamilton. He was in what's that film with He played what's his name? The one with Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X.
Are you talking about all of them?
Yeah. What was that movie called?
I don't know. It's recent, isn't it?
It's pretty recent. Yeah, we watched it when it came out. I forgot what it was called. But he's a really good actor. I like him a lot. I'm telling you, that thing upstairs isn't my daughter. In more surprising news, Oscar winner Ellen Bernstein will reprise her role as Chris McNeil from the 1970 the classic Mother to the Possessed and Tortured Reagan McNeil, played by Linda Blair. As for story details, Odom Jr. will play the father of a possessed child. Desperate for help, he tracks down Miss Bernstein's character. Interesting. We'll talk about that plot here in a minute, because I have some questions. The casting confirms this new Exorcist trilogy won't be a remake, but a successor similar to what Green did with John Carpenter's Halloween. Green went on record about the film just last week. Scott Teems, Danny McBride, and David Gordon Green teamed up for the story being penned by Peter Sattler and David Gordon Green. Blumhouse is producing with Morgan Creek Entertainment. The first film in the trilogy will be released theatrically on October 13th, 2023, which is also the Rob Zombie's Monsters reboot. It's a Universal production. The Exorcist franchise hasn't been on the big screen since 2005, The Wreath of Dominion, which is a prequel to The Exorcist, yada, yada, yada. And they did have a TV series. I didn't watch it. And then, of course, there's Ellen Bernstein. Yeah, there's Ellen Bernstein. There's Pizzazzo. There's the demon. That's the demon that like possesses her in the movie.
Bro, that demon looks fucking whack.
I know.
I would be scared with that.
Yeah. So I have a lot of questions. Is it just the original movie? Are we pulling a Halloween, and are we going to bypass the Heretic and all of the three Exorcist sequels? Is it going to be just a sequel to the original itself? We also learned that Linda Blair has not been contacted for this at all, which is kind of interesting.
Linda Blair the girl?
Yeah. Like, I think it's strange to contact Ellen Bernstein, which she played a really good role in that movie. She was a main character, but like, Linda Blair she was Reagan. Like, Reagan is the main character in The Exorcist. She's the possessed little girl. And I feel like I think it's strange, they said Leslie Odom Jr.'s character is playing the father of a possessed child. And I guess we won't know if that's a little boy or a little girl. But I feel like, if you were going to somebody for help, would you, I guess as a parent, maybe he would go to Reagan's mom instead of Reagan herself to see how she dealt with that. I don't know, or how she dealt with it. Where are they going to go with the story? That's the big question. And the fact that it's a trilogy really throws me for a loop, because why a trilogy? Like, I don't see how they're going to stretch the story out from what we know. And obviously there's a lot of unanswered questions, but from what we know, at least to you, doesn't it sound like you could probably wrap that up in one movie? A father who's trying to seek help for his possessed daughter?
Yeah, that's 100% just a movie. I think they'll end up just doing like multiple like anthologies. You know what I mean?
Oh,
just
yeah,
like different cases.
Yeah, maybe. I don't
know.
They're
gonna have their own like the Conjuring kind of universe thing.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing you have to think about is, if we are bypassing the other three Exorcist sequels, Dominion, the Heretic, I forgot, what was the third one called? Maybe the third one was the Heretic. Sequels. I'm not sure what the third one was called. But if we're bypassing those, you also have to, they can't not mention Reagan. If you're going to have her mom in it, you can't, I don't know. I feel like you can't not have Reagan in it. Or at least mention her. We would have to know what happened to Reagan.
Reagan went through a lot, but now she's...
she survived.
She went to school. She went to Yale. Blah, 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 blah.
She's a doctor.
She's okay. She's a doctor now.
I don't know. And also, her Ellen Bernstein's character, she'd be old. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
she would probably get like, I don't know, like probably 2 or 3 minutes of exposition, and then it's like with new characters, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Very interesting. My biggest question is, where are we going to go with the story? Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up with this is I really hope that every single horror IP that is like major, Elm Street, Friday, which I know we're going to talk about Friday in a minute, that's still a mess. I hope that we're not going to go into like sequel trilogy to the original. That's the new formula. Like, no, like that works for Halloween. It really works for what they're doing with 18 kills and ends. But like, I just don't know. I don't know. I don't want to see a Nightmare on Elm Street trilogy that's a sequel to the original. Like, I don't even want to see a Friday the 13th trilogy that's a sequel to the original. Like, I really don't. I feel like, I mean, don't you think it's kind of like recycling the formula a little bit?
Yeah, people are gonna beat that dead horse a lot.
And it's basically, I mean, this is going to be the same exact team that is behind the new Halloween trilogy that is now behind this new Exorcist trilogy. So those are my big questions. Where is the story going to go? And why a trilogy? Which I guess is kind of the same question. How are you going to stretch that story out over 3 movies? Interesting. So
it's just, I feel like they'll probably end up making like some type of like world building thing where it's like, oh, there's multiple cases happening and there's gonna be investigators that are gonna figure this shit out.
Yeah, like you said, an anthology type deal.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have the characters kind of overlap. Like, I mean, what if they did this? What if Linda Blair, after her after Reagan's whole possession, what if she grows up and becomes a demonologist? What if what if she is the Exorcist? You don't like that? You don't want Reagan to be the Exorcist in this one?
Fight me, Captain Kirk.
Is that too like on the nose?
It's too on the nose, you know what I mean? But it's obviously gonna be on the nose.
But Linda Blair hasn't been approached, so who knows?
She hasn't? Wait, she's also really old now, isn't she?
Yeah, but her mom would be older. Ellen Bernstein's character is, I mean, how old? Hey Siri, how old is Ellen Bernstein?
Ellen Bernstein is 88 years old.
88 years old. Hey Siri, how old is Linda Blair?
Linda Blair is 62 years
She's
old.
62. It was a long time ago, Miguel.
These women can't fall down the stairs like that priest did.
I mean, is Linda, I don't know, are they going to be fighting demons again? Like, where is it going to go? That's my big question. I hope that it feels like an actual sequel. And I feel like for it to feel like an actual sequel, you have to bring back Reagan and you have to bring back her mom to an extent. But I think Reagan should be the focus, not her mom. Even if Reagan isn't possessed anymore and there's another kid that's possessed by Pizzazzo or whoever. I mean, I don't know. I hope that Reagan's in it. I hope that Linda Blair is called. But guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. It's gonna be an interesting one. It'll be a very interesting one to watch.
I can almost guarantee you it'll be like the fucking Star Wars thing where they introduce like new characters and like all the old ones are still like chilling around and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We will have to see, man. We'll have to see. But let's talk about Friday the 13th a little bit while we're here. I know so many people are sick and tired waiting for the legal battle over Friday the 13th to be resolved. And apparently, according to Corey Feldman, it has been resolved. I think that's a load of crap, but let's talk about it. What are you doing?
That's a Friday the 13th thing, isn't it?
What?
That's like the thing. Like on Friday the 13th, when Jason walks around, you hear that. Oh, am I doing it wrong?
Yeah, you're doing it wrong.
Mine was kind of like the Darth Vader thing.
Fake fan.
It was like the Darth Vader thing. It was like,
yeah. Hey, there's MTV Freddy again.
MTV Freddy.
There's our boy. So, rumor. Corey Feldman claims Friday the 13th dispute has been resolved. Original reboot plan was Tommy versus Jason. There's Corey Feldman right there. There's Jason from the final chapter jumping through the window, tackling him. Having starred in everything from The Lost Boys to Stand By Me to The Goonies, Gremlins, The Burbs, and even License to Drive, Corey Feldman's legacy goes far beyond his battle with Jason Voorhees. Yet the child star is best known among horror fans as Tommy Jarvis, the young, aspiring special effects artist who is the only character to actually kill the iconic hockey-masked slasher. In a way, the impact of Feldman's Tommy Jarvis in Friday the 13th, the final chapter, could be likened to that of Jamie Lee Curtis and John Carpenter's Halloween. The idea that he could reprise his role in a future Friday isn't all that crazy, especially after the success of Halloween 2018. In fact, it would actually be pretty damn cool. Now, I agree. They could bring back Corey Feldman to do another Tommy Jarvis thing, but they already did that with Never Hike Alone. And yes, it's a fan film, but Never Hike Alone is done so well, you could consider it canon. You could consider it a canon film. It's like It's Me, Billy. It's like what Cecil Laird is going to do with Dylan's New Nightmare. Like, yes, it's a fan film, but it's done well enough. And I mean, it brings the actor back, for God's sakes. Like, and it's not Corey Feldman, obviously. It's the person who played Tommy when he was older. But I mean, you could call it canon. So they've kind of already done it. And I don't know if I'd want to see it again with Corey Feldman. No offense to him at all. And speaking to MovieWeb, I can't talk today, Feldman makes some bold claims, telling the site that before Platinum Dunes remade Friday the 13th in 2009, the plan was to pit Tommy against Jason, Freddy versus Jason style. Let's just hope they don't make it like they did the last one, because that was terrible, Feldman rudely asserts before diving in headfirst. Where they messed up is they had been meeting with me about doing Tommy versus Jason like H2O style, meaning Halloween H2O. That was the plan. They didn't go that route, and they went and did this awful atrocity of a reboot instead, and look what you got. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not like wild about the Friday the 13th reboot. I mean, it's fine. It had some really, really good moments. It wasn't an atrocity, though. It wasn't that bad.
It was just one of those fucking horror movie reboots. I mean,
it was
good for its time.
It was a 2000s horror movie. It was.
Pretty much, yeah.
Lots of boobs, lots of blood. I mean, it was what it was. It was an early 2000s horror movie.
That really was the trope. It really was the trope, guys. Yeah. I remember that.
I mean, it was like 10 minutes into the movie, we had boobs. I was like, really? Like, okay, here we go. And then, of course, dude, the first 15, 20 minutes of that movie is dope, though. Amazing. Incredible opening. Not to talk badly about Platinum Dunes, even though you just were, but I had met with them prior to making that movie, and they had promised me that they were going to use me and bring Tommy Jarvis back in the version that they had originally planned to make, and then it all got scratched for that ridiculous whatever it was, Feldman alleges. My own personal recollection of the developmental process was that the directive from Warner Brothers / New Line Cinema was always to do a reboot and never to toy with a canonized version or even try something uniquely different. Digressing, Feldman used the siege to use this to seg into the next Friday the 13th and to project his involvement. It's a concept I find extremely exciting and fully endorse. If they were doing things the right way, man, he's throwing a lot of shade. He really is. He's throwing a lot of shade at Platinum Dunes.
And they were talking about the same Tommy, like the kid, right?
Yeah, they were talking about Kid Tommy, and he was under the impression that they were going to bring him back to play the adult version of his kid character from Part 4. If they were doing things the right way and they were listening to what fans really want, throw that shade, Corey, and they had their ear to the ground and to the pulse of what's going on in pop culture society. What they should do is revamp the idea of bringing Tommy back 40 years later to go up against his nemesis the same way they did with Jamie Lee Curtis and the Halloween reboot. Now, of course, they've taken...
For fuck's sakes, man.
I know. Now, of course, they've taken that idea and redone that 5 different ways. Well, all we're asking is for one Tommy versus Jason sequel. That's all we're asking for. And you just summed it up. Look, I really liked Corey Feldman in part 4. I have nothing against Corey Feldman, but Tommy Jarvis is not Laurie Strode. Like, it's just it's just different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the same. You can't compare Tommy Jarvis to Laurie Strode. It's not the same. It's just not. And again, they've already done it with Never Hike Alone. Like, I just don't know, man. Like, give it a rest. Like, I think the time is past for that. Because then you also have to think, like, it's such a mess. What sequels are you gonna bypass from the Friday the 13th franchise? Are we saying 1 through 4 is canon, but the rest aren't? And then this is gonna be a sequel to 4? Because I don't think modern audiences are not gonna get that. You know what I mean? They're not going to get that in the same way that
they're all going to remember the fucking the Jason in space.
Right? They're going to remember Jason X. They're going to remember Manhattan. They're going to remember Jason Lives.
Tommy, turn him into an astronaut, and just have him fight Jason in space.
In space.
Sure. Why the fuck
Jason in space, Michael, send them all to space. Everybody in space.
Jason is probably one of the most like obnoxiously overused horror villain out there so far, because they really send this man everywhere. They send him to Manhattan, they send him back to camp, they send him to hell, they send him to space. They send him God knows everywhere.
They've sent him to hell. They sent him to space. That's funny.
Like, next thing you know, like, send him to fucking Antarctica. Make it like a
well, and then in Freddy vs. Jason, remember, he was just walking around a neighborhood. He was like Michael walking around a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Just chilling. Walking in people's yards, down the street, down the sidewalk. He was just chilling. I always thought he looked super out of place in Freddy vs. Jason. Like,
My man was just a big burly guy in a fucked up coat with a hockey mask.
Yeah.
And a giant machete. Like, and what do you mean? I mean, Michael seemed out of place. The only reason why Michael didn't seem out of place is because most of the times he's out there, it's in fucking Halloween. You know what I mean?
Well, it's always Halloween. Everybody's dressed up. He fits in, you know?
Yeah.
Jason doesn't fit in.
Yeah. It'd be weird. Like, you remember in Manhattan, whenever Jason was in Manhattan, he was chasing after those two people. And like he walks past these mob biker boys, and he just fucking kicks the radio.
Yeah,
that by far is one of the funniest scenes from a Jason movie, because it was just he punts that radio like with some force. He said, "He's gonna make me run again." It was like, oh shit, this is the maddest I've seen Jason in a long time.
He did have some good scenes in Freddy vs. Jason, though. Like, some really good scenes. It was some of my favorite Jason scenes. So here's where it gets interesting. Feldman is so passionate about his take that he even developed a pitch that he took directly to the studio. Me and the original writer of the final chapter, Barney Cohen, had gotten together and fleshed out a treatment for Tommy versus Jason, and we were pitching it to Paramount and New Line about 6 or 7 years ago, but it just never went forward because of all of the tie-up and the legal litigation stuff going on. So if you don't know, Friday the 13th has been locked up for a few years at least now in a whole legal battle between Sean Cunningham and the original writers of Friday the 13th for who owns what. They were trying to say that Sean Cunningham owns Friday the 13th, but they owned Jason and the hockey mask. And I was just like, oh my God, just you're all millionaires. You all make equal money off of this. Like, take your money and like leave it alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Pretty much.
But Corey Feldman's made some pretty crazy claims about this whole legal battle. Let's make one thing crystal clear before we move forward. Corey Feldman is not a source. In fact, he's extremely unlikely that he has any real insight into any of the developmental happening behind the Friday the 13th franchise. With that being said, here's what he says about the long-gestured battle for franchise rights between original screenwriter Victor Miller and Horror Inc., which is Sean Cunningham's company. Here's what he had to say. Interestingly enough, some guy came up to me at a party, this is true, 2 weeks ago, and he said he has resolved the rights issues. He's a lawyer, and he has resolved the rights issues around Friday the 13th, and the things are working out, and now they'll be able to start making Friday the 13th movies again. I say bull. I don't think that's true. I think I know for a fact that the guy who played Sally in part 3, I don't remember which one Sally was in. He quit acting and he's a lawyer now, and he's kind of involved in that space, and he tweets out, I actually follow him, he tweets out like updates on this whole Friday the 13th lawsuit. Apparently it's a mess. Like, this is a mess. They can't agree on who owns what. I don't think that Corey Feldman is correct here, and that it's all resolved and they're going to start making Friday the 13th movies again. I don't think so. I think it's still going to be locked up. It's too big of a property for them to just like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? They're not going to let it go that easy. And I don't think that by happenstance, Corey Feldman, again, nothing against Corey Feldman, but I don't think that he would just like know from talking to some guy at a party. And then, of course, to finish out this article, again, I cannot stress this enough. This all must be taken with an extremely small grain of salt. It's highly unlikely Feldman has any actual insight into the happenings behind the scenes of Friday the 13th, but I do admire his passion. And if things ever do get figured out, I do love the idea of seeing Feldman return to the role of Tommy Jarvis and to kick Jason Voorhees' ass one final time. Interesting. And of course, there's Corey Feldman. There's Tommy at the end of Friday Part 4.
Is that really Tommy?
Yep, that's Tommy.
That's Tommy?
Yep.
That's the dude who fought Jason.
Yep. That kid killed Jason.
That kid looks like a younger version of Slaw.
Killed,
in like
quote unquote.
The Goonies.
Killed Jason.
You know what I mean?
It's funny because he was in the Goonies.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, what the fuck? I don't know, man. Look, Jason has had so many different types of iterations, so there's so many different types of rights that you can have with different types of Jasons. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah.
This whole like legal battle is just, this thing's not going to be over anytime soon.
I don't think so either.
Them to think that they can start making movies now, that's naive to think, because golly, if it's like a legitimate legal battle, this stuff is going to take years at least before any type of ground.
Especially with the pandemic going on, I think they're not going to give it up that easy. And from what I understand, Sean Cunningham and Victor Miller are very on polar opposite sides of what they want. So I don't know. From what I understand, this is still very much a big legal battle. And I mean, I'm not opposed. I don't know. I think with Never Hike Alone, it's different. Because again, it's a fan film. You don't have to rely on people making money, or you don't have to rely on box office. The people who are watching Never Hike Alone are the people who are huge Friday fans, who are huge horror fans. They get it. They get, like, when Tommy came out at the end of Never Hike Alone, the actual actor who played him later on, I forget what his name was, horror fans got that. It was like, holy crap, that's Tommy. And he came face to face with Jason. And then, of course, Never Hike Alone ends. But I don't know I don't think a studio would take a gamble on doing a Tommy versus Jason movie, and I hope they wouldn't call it Tommy versus Jason. That sounds terrible. You know what I mean? You would have to call it Friday the 13th part whatever. But I don't know. I don't think a studio would take a gamble on general audiences understanding that this is Tommy from part 4. You know what I mean? Coming back to it's different. Again, it's different than Halloween. I know he compared it to Laurie Strode and to what they're doing with the new Halloween timeline, but it's not the same. It's just not. Tommy Jarvis doesn't have, Corey Feldman's Tommy Jarvis doesn't have the history that Jamie Lee Curtis did with Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
So,
well, is there a difference between Never Hike Alone and Never Hike in the Snow?
Never Hike in the Snow is the prequel to Never Hike Alone.
Okay. I'll have to watch them.
I believe there are, I don't know if you've gotten to watch those. They're really good, Miguel.
I see the first still image has Jason with a bow and arrow.
I mean, many people consider it to be canon. That's how good they are.
I'm sorry, I don't consider Jason carrying a fucking bow and arrow canon.
Why?
He's done
stuff like that before.
I don't think he's used a bow and arrow before.
He's used a spear gun.
Has he?
Yeah, in part 3. I think the first time you ever see him with the hockey mask. Yeah, the first time you ever see him with the hockey mask, he uses like a spear gun because it goes like right through the chick's eye.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow, I guess I'm really not that much of a Jason fan.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the Friday movies have really good. I last summer actually, when was this? When we were shut down during COVID, I watched a lot of the Friday movies. Actually, I watched them all. I started at 1 and I watched them all the way through. I really gained more of an appreciation for them. They're a lot of fun. I really like them. And, I used to like, when I first started getting into horror, I liked Freddy vs. Jason. I liked the reboot. I liked, Jason Takes Manhattan. I mean, I liked a lot of them, but I really did gain, the last time I watched the series straight through, I gained much more of an appreciation for the whole thing than I guess I ever really had before. So it'll be, I don't think this is going to be resolved. But it was interesting. What do you guys think in the comments below? Please let us know.
Please do, because honestly, God, I have no clue what to think of this whole Jason situation. I would love to see more of the movies because, again, it's just one of the other more popular horror villains out there. So I'm all for seeing more of them.
Yeah. All right, last 2 stories of the night. We're heading over into the Marvel world now. So since the initial Phase 4 announcement, Marvel fans have always, we've always speculated like when mutants, when the X-Men, when are they going to make their like MCU debut, their first appearance? And we have confirmation from Mikey Sutton and the folks over at geekosity.com, industry insiders. They're people that work in the industry. They have they're a very reliable source, that Disney and Sony are in fact discussing ways to bring them into the their combined MCU, and there's even talk of an X-Men Spider-Man crossover event, which is pretty interesting. So let me get this article pulled up real quick. On Geekosity. Sony and Disney are currently discussing a crossover film with Spider-Man and the X-Men. The walls have broken with Sony and Disney. Our sources reveal that they're working to get the franchises together, but since these are early discussions, there is nothing concrete at this time. But if all goes well, they hope that Marvel Studios pulls the trigger. Spider-Man has been well known to collaborate with other Marvel characters. It's not a surprise. He has collaborated with the X-Men before. The first time he ever collaborated with the X-Men was in X-Men number 35 in 1967. And in the comics, they initially met purely by accident. I'm kind of skimming to get us to the main part of the article. This led to them fighting because of a misunderstanding. We've also been exposed to the cartoon Spider-Man and his amazing friends. There were mutants in that series as well. We've reported before that this team up might even be happening on the big screen, with Tom Holland's Peter Parker getting into a love triangle with Angelica Jones, aka Firestar, and Zendaya's Michelle Jones. It would also be great to see the fourth wall breaking Deadpool and Spider-Man crossover. That would be dope, and I think that's something that we're all waiting for.
We all want that to happen.
Deadpool to get his debut, which, by the way, I think Ryan Reynolds said that there's like a 75% chance that Deadpool 3 shoots next year, which is awesome.
I saw that. That's exciting.
That is very exciting.
Because that will be an MCU project right there.
Mm-hmm. Hell so, yeah, that'll be an MCU project.
That will be, yeah. That'll be interesting.
It's awesome. At this time, Sony and Disney are looking into loosely adapting the book The Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine. This was a limited series which had 6 issues. The series was released from 2010 to 11, written by Jason Aaron with art by Adam Kubert. It is also noted that Jason Aaron's writing inspires Taika Waititi's, I believe that's how you say it, upcoming Thor Love and Thunder movie. In The Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine, both Spider-Man and Wolverine were manipulated to deal with an alternate time travel TV reality show orchestrated by Mojo. Mojo is the ruler of the Mojoverse, a universe where everyone is addicted to TV, sounds like 2021, and Mojo does everything in his power to get his ratings up. Of course, the story Sony and Disney are building won't be identical, but it makes sense with the whole multiverse thing. I mean, they could tie that in any way. Nothing in the movies is completely the same as in the comics, which it can't be the exact same as the comics. You know what I mean? You got to kind of keep it fresh and incorporate it to what you already have as well.
Mm-hmm.
The story will be tweaked, and it possibly might have other comics to be inspired from. The film Sony and Disney are currently discussing won't be a Spider-Man-focused movie. This also means that this is not part of the new Spider-Man trilogy that Marvel is working on. It is intended that Tom Holland will reprise his role as Peter Parker in the film. They are planning to get more than one mutant in the film. The question is, will it be Firestar, who forces Peter Parker to rethink his relationship with MJ? Would this be a perfect fit if Deadpool actually got into it, since it may involve a reality TV thing, since the breaking the fourth wall is kind of his thing? Or will it be another mutant entirely? Interesting stuff. X-Men and Spider-Man. Miguel, what do you think? In the MCU?
I think... I would love for them to be introduced into the MCU, but with Spider-Man as the people that he meets up first, I don't know. I kind of would have preferred it to be kind of like the Eternals kind of thing, where like they make the whole story about the mutants.
Yeah.
Not like an origin story, obviously, because we all know that's a dead horse.
Right.
But just like bring them out like on their own, like dealing with their own problems. Like I feel like the mutants could definitely come out a lot more with the further ramifications of like the Sokovia Accords. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the Sokovia Accords isn't necessarily the same as the Superhero Registration Act in Civil War in the comics. It's kind of they're kind of different.
Mm-hmm.
The Sokovia Accord is pretty much putting them under government jurisdiction, which is the same, but the main purpose of it was the Superhero Registration Act was pretty much saying like, okay, you're going to be under the government's database, but that means you had to give up your identity. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So like, it would be like, obviously like there's some different types of variation between the storyline. So what I'm saying is, it'd be interesting to introduce the mutants or the X-Men. It'd be interesting to introduce them as a byproduct of the Sokovia Accords.
Yeah.
Like because of the Sokovia Accords, the mutants are becoming more and more shown in the spotlight. So I think that would be awesome, because then that would give you a chance to introduce all of these new characters. Obviously, you can't give them the same back origin as the comics. You would have to start them off right there. You can't start them all the way back since Iron Man, because that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. I'm down for it. I mean, I think it's a really cool concept and a cool idea. I just think that we need to introduce mutants. And we need to introduce the X-Men before we do this kind of story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't just like throw that into the mix and expect it to work. We would need to introduce them correctly in order for it to even make sense at all. So that's kind of my take on it. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool idea, especially if it's Spider-Man and Wolverine and Deadpool having an appearance in there, because then you also get the Wolverine-Deadpool pair-up. But it also begs the question of who do you cast as Wolverine? I know we talked about this probably about a month or so ago, about Hugh Jackman maybe coming back as Wolverine, but I mean that's not a guarantee. So I don't know. There's a lot of groundwork to lay before we could talk about this.
Yeah, honestly, it'd be impossible for Hugh Jackman to be in it, because for Wolverine to come back, it'll take again years, and those are years that Hugh Jackman needs. Let's be honest, he's getting to that age a little bit.
Yeah, he's starting to get up there.
Where he can't really spawn the never aging mutant that is Wolverine. That's full energy. Yeah, he's getting up there.
Yeah, and we've already done the old man Logan thing. Like I understand that.
Yeah, like I can't see Hugh Jackman's Wolverine as the original Wolverine anymore. You know what I mean? Because I've already seen Old Man Logan, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree. Well, to round out our night here, let's talk Spider-Man No Way Home, because there has been a lot of buzz surrounding the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, or lack thereof. And it's kind of become a joke at this point, because it's like, it's almost like, well, where is it? It's like every possible point that Disney and Sony could have released the trailer, they haven't. Now, if you've seen the latest trailer for Venom Let There Be Carnage, you've probably noticed that at the end of the trailer, the September 15th release date was not shown, and it was replaced with exclusively in movie theaters this fall. Now, could this be nothing? Absolutely. But I think a lot of fans and a lot of people are beginning to think that this points to a delay for not only Venom Let There Be Carnage, but for Spider-Man No Way Home as well. So let's talk about it.
What you're trying to say is that the COVID pandemic going to fuck up the movie theaters again?
I know, man. I don't know. I hope not. So take a look at Sony's upcoming release slate. Venom comes out September 15th. No Way Home comes out December 17th. Morbius comes out January 21st of next year. These are all major Marvel releases that are heavily rumored to tie into one another. And you also have to remember that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, even though that's not a Sony film, it's a Disney film, even though they're kind of sharing. I don't know. That's a huge part of this whole multiverse storyline too. And that's going to tie in. If you push... I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home is already at the end of this year. If you push Spider-Man No Way Home, you're going to have to push Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And coming off of WandaVision and Loki, plus What If, they may not want to do that, because it all kind of ties into each other right now. And they're not going to push, if they did push Spider-Man No Way Home, I don't think they're going to push it to January or February, because the COVID situation may not be better by then. That's not far enough. And I mean, Sony needs these next 3 Marvel movies to make some serious bank, because they're a smaller studio. And again, in the post-COVID world that we're living in right now, I say post-COVID, but the COVID world we're living in right now, they need that money. And I mean, let's face it, like the No Way Home is being split with Disney and Marvel. So they need it to make a lot of money, because Sony needs to get a really big cut of that movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I have the box office numbers here. So Spider-Man Homecoming made $880.2 million at the global box office. Pretty good. Venom, the first Venom, made $856 million. Spider-Man Far From Home made $1.1 billion globally, which is extraordinarily well. And No Way Home has to be a billion-dollar movie in order for this to be successful, financially successful for Disney and Sony. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think it's got to at least hit that billion mark, or else it's not going to be financially successful for them. Now, according to the Direct, which is a really big Marvel news outlet, within the last week, it's been heavily rumored that No Way Home is going. They're undergoing reshoots in L.A. or Atlanta or even both. Kirsten Dunst from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy and Deborah Ann Wall from the Daredevil series, they were both spotted at a Sony studio in L.A. Andrew Garfield is supposedly in L.A. A lot of things that kind of point to maybe they're doing some Spider-Man No Way Home reshoots. And of course, it could be coincidence, but I mean, again, we've talked about that ad nauseum on the show. I mean, like, come on. The cat's out of the bag at this point. I mean, if we're being completely honest, it really is.
Yeah, the one I'm more surprised is
Deborah Ann Wall.
Huh?
Deborah Ann Wall.
Yeah, with her being with Kirsten Dunst, because they're basically that would basically confirm that Charlie Cox, Daredevil, and that whole TV series is going to be canon. Which makes sense because Wilson Fisk is going to be in Hawkeye. So I mean, it's pretty much, that's the confirmation I want to hear. I want to hear that those TV shows are coming, because those are some pretty solid TV shows. Everything but, like, I don't know, Iron Fist. Luke Cage was good. But everything else, all those other
Punisher,
TV shows,
man.
The Punisher, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, all three of those were just solid TV shows, man.
Absolutely.
And they deserve to be in the MCU 100%. They earned their seat.
And the other thing is, there was a set photo of Tom Holland and Benedict Cumberbatch kind of looking at each other. Spider-Man's up on something and Doctor Strange is looking at him from below. Miguel, do you think it's a little late for them to be doing reshoots? I mean, we're 4 months away from where it's scheduled to release. A little under 4 months away from where Spider-Man Home. I think it's getting a little late for it. And
I think it's also because they're anticipating the COVID shutdown. I'm not going to lie.
Probably. I think I agree with that, because you have to think about the COVID cases too. We're in a spike right now. The Delta variant is on the rise. Please, for the love of everything holy, go get vaccinated. And we very well may be moving into the second wave of the pandemic, which, again, like you just said, that's going to shut everything down. That's going to shut productions down. And that's kind of going to throw a wrench in everybody's fall and winter release slates. And I mean, obviously we hope not, but it's something that these studios and their distributors are really having to think about. Yeah.
Always on talk.
It's really starting to weigh, I think. Now, the one little gleam of hope for Marvel fans and for Spider-Man fans is CinemaCon, which CinemaCon is scheduled for August 23rd, a little under 3 weeks away. And Sony has a 3-hour presentation block where they'll be showcasing new releases, and there's a mandate. I think the title of their block is like Back at the Movies or something like that. There's a mandate where all cellular devices they have to be turned off during the showcase, which I get, that's an NDA kind of thing. And there's a good chance that the attendees of that will see a teaser or footage from the movie, but that's not guaranteed. Hopefully, I think in a perfect world, people are guessing that maybe they will drop the Spider-Man. They'll show the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer in CinemaCon for the people that are in CinemaCon, and then maybe that night or something, they'll finally drop the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, because then we'll be at the end of August. I think it's already getting kind of late for a trailer for a movie. I mean, if they dropped it on August 23rd at CinemaCon in that Sony block, you'd have 3 months basically to market your movie. And again, it's going to make a lot of money because of the hype surrounding it, because of Toby and Andrew coming back. It's going to make a lot of money, but that's still only 3 months to market it. You know what I mean?
I mean, the movie's going to speak for itself.
It will.
There really isn't much you need to invest in marketing. Matter of fact, if you just give us, like you said, people are wanting so much about this movie that movie theaters are starting to bring in fan-made posters.
Yeah.
Like, you could honestly just bring out the Spider-Man No Way Home and it would still get enough buzz.
I honestly think they're waiting on COVID. I think that's the biggest. They're waiting to see what happens, especially through August. I think if we get to the end of August and COVID is really starting to spike again and stuff is starting to shut down, I think the movie's going to get pushed. I don't think we're going to get a trailer. I don't think we're going to get anything. Now, if they do like a Blumhouse with Halloween Kills, like when Halloween Kills got, this is just the first thing that's on my mind. When that got delayed on July 9th of last year, they dropped like a 35, 40-second teaser when that got delayed. It's like, hey, this might help soften the blow a little bit. Here you go. If they do have to push Spider-Man No Way Home, I don't think they'd push it a year. I think they'd probably push it to sometime June or July, so it would be a summer blockbuster type event. I think that's what they would do. I don't think they would push it to next December because that's just too far away from WandaVision and Loki and What If. It just is. It's way too far away from those, especially since it ties in. And that would mean Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness wouldn't be coming out until like March, probably February or March of 2023. Like, I just don't think they want to, I don't think that's a timetable that they want because we would have no Marvel stuff for all of that time. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It wouldn't make any sense. So I would guess if they're going to push it, they're going to push it to June or July of next year. And then maybe even Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness would maybe take a December slot and then push all of their other releases back a year from where they're at.
Golly, man. This COVID thing's really, it's fucking up the whole MCU timeline.
I know, it really is. It's starting to make a lot of this stuff really, really screwy. So I don't know. Hopefully we get a trailer on August 23rd. Hopefully COVID doesn't screw everything up and have to push this stuff, but I mean, you never know. I mean, it's a very fluid situation and it's a very it's a changing situation and it's going to keep changing throughout the next couple of weeks and months. So we'll just have to see. We'll have to keep hanging on. Theaters will have to keep putting those fan-made No Way Home posters in their little cartridges, and we'll just have to see, man. Because I mean, let's be honest, it has been quiet about Spider-Man No Way Home. Quiet. There has been nothing. Literally
radio silence.
Nothing. I mean, it's gotten to the point where people are predicting that they're not even going to release a trailer. They're just going to drop the movie when it drops. They're not going to do that because
I just said, did Kevin Feige say that? Or
I think he said it jokingly, but I think it's a rumor. But they're not going to do that. That's too much of a gamble, especially like we talked about earlier. This needs to be a $1 billion movie. It needs to hit that $1 billion benchmark, and they're going to market it because they're going to do everything in their power to guarantee that it hits that $1 million benchmark. So I don't think that they would not release a trailer and take that gamble. I think it's too much of a gamble, especially in the world we're living in, and especially since they've made it perfectly clear that this will not be on Disney Plus. This is an exclusively in movie theaters thing, just like what we saw at the end of the Venom trailer. But guys, please leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you think the deal is with the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. Do you think that delays are possible? I think it is a possibility. I think we're just going to have to watch the COVID situation and see where we go with that. You agree?
Oh, I'm so sorry, dude.
You're good.
You're good. So sorry.
Are you deep in thought or what?
I was just waiting. I thought you were just ending it right there. I was just gonna let you have at it.
No, you're good.
Oh my god. So
anyways, it's late. We're getting tired, guys. That's gonna do it for this week's episode of Let's Talk Movie News. It's been the first one we've had in a couple of weeks, so thanks for sticking with us the whole time. Please, on Monday, episode 33 of Let's Talk Movies. We are joined by JayTee of HeyJay. He's a really nice guy, really great content creator, big movie lover, filmmaker, film student, really cool guy. We got to have about a 2-hour conversation with him, and he will be joining us for episode 33 of Let's Talk Movies. You do not want to miss that. New episodes of Let's Talk Movies and Let's Talk Movie News drop every Monday and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on video form on YouTube, in audio form on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you listen to your shows. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at We Talk the Movies. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, guys. Please leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. We want to hear your thoughts on this week's movie news. Take care. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.